All right, everybody, welcome back. Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. We are getting ready for the Phillies and the Dodgers. Our next guest has played Phillies-Dodgers. He's been a big part of Phillies-Dodgers series, and that series takes over tomorrow right here on 97.3 ESPN. He's doing a whole heck of a lot. Many people in the listening audience will remember him from his time with the Philadelphia Phillies, of course, a World Series championship. But after retiring and getting out of Philadelphia, we won't tell you what he did after he left Philly. He was in Washington for a little while. Those were fun times, too. But Jayson Werth fell in love with horse racing. We ran into him at the Super Bowl and just had a ton of great conversations about the Belmont Stakes, your win there, Dornick, and, of course, you have morphed in from World Series champion to iconic thoroughbred racer, and, of course, you have a mission now out there, Icon Racing. I got to imagine this is such an exciting time, though, reliving all these Red October memories. Jayson Werth, welcome aboard.
Yeah, let's go Phils, right? Red October against the Dodgers, no less. Let's get it done.
Right? I mean, when you saw this series, it just kind of sparked some memories of, that time in Philadelphia, which has got to be, unbelievable.
Yeah, no, unbelievable time, unbelievable teams. The best city to play in and win. And against the Dodgers, who I broke into the big leagues with. Got my wrist injury. They like forgot about me, let me go. That's when I signed with the Phillies, and then to beat them, we beat them in 2008 before we went to the World Series, and then that was a big series in 10, and at the bank at that 2-homer game to send us to the NLCS. That time I stole home was against the Dodgers. So a lot of good Phillies-Dodgers against the Dodgers memories.
Yeah, I was having breakfast with my father this morning, and he said to me, I'm a little worried. We've beat the Dodgers 6 straight times in the playoffs. He's a big law of averages guy. So, obviously, when you have that much success against one team, you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop. But you went back to that 2008 series there, the one out in L.A., where you beat them 4-1. I mean, that was kind of like at that Dodger win, was that the moment that you guys felt locked in that this was going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, look, we ran down the Mets in 2007. They got buzzsawed by the Rockies. We ran down the Mets again in 2008. And, you always just feel you're up against the world. But that Matt Stairs homer off Broxton, that did something to that team, that city that it kind of carried over into 2009, 10, and 11. I wasn't there in 11. That was probably, that was the end of the run and probably the best team they had. But we got it done in 2008 on the heels of that big Matt Stairs homer. That propelled the Phillies and the cities for a long time.
Do you remember where you were standing and when that thing launched?
I had my helmet on, right? I was I could see pinch hit. I was batting second, so I would have been in the hole.
Jeez,
I was on the steps with my helmet on. Jeff Jenkins was screaming in my ear. I definitely remember that.
What an unbelievable got this Dodger-Phillies rivalry starting back up. You've been a part of it. You look back and talk about the Phillies have had these good runs here, but you could speak upon how difficult it is. You hit 300 in the regular season, you feel good, and then the pitching just goes to another level. The intensity of these games and how they differ so much from a game that you're playing in July.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I went through it in Washington. When you're the best team, you sit around and you wait for the wild card games to get done, and you kind of it's almost like the All-Star break again, where you come back. That's why they call it the first half and the second half. You get 4 days off, and that kind of it changes everything. So this downtime that they have right now is crucial. I saw they did the scrimmage game the other day. That's huge. I always wanted to do that. In Washington, that was probably bet Bryce had his hand in that. I guarantee it. That is a great way. 30,000 people show up to keep the competitive juices going. Keep it like a real game. It's hard to recreate anything this time of year. So that time off can affect you. So that's going to be one thing they're up against in a five game series. It's short, but we'll see if the pitching holds. And they have the advantage now because of the way they set up the wild card, but we'll see if the bats can keep it going.
We'll see. Jayson Werth is our guest here, of course, won a World Series with the Phillies in 2008, Washington, and of course now a World Series of horse racing, you all of a sudden out of nowhere, someone saw Jayson Werth standing on television during a huge horse race, and a new era of Jayson Werth's career was born. Tell us about the mission and how this has all kind of transformed your post-baseball life.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Got in on this horse named Dornick, and then my first colt I get into, I was kind of playing the Philly game. It's a little bit easier game to play for people to get into the sport, depending on what your budget is. The colt game is, it's the sport of kings because everyone wants to win the Triple Crown, So it's a tough game to play. But I got a piece of a horse named Dornick, and he ends up winning the Belmont, and it was just an incredible experience. But I tell you, it goes back. Me and Chase Utley went on a golfing trip in Scotland. We ended up playing the last day. I played this course, Royal Dornoch, in the town of Dornoch, Scotland. And I came back home. I called the trainer, Danny Gargan. I said, "Hey, how's the big horse doing?" He's like, "Great, he's doing good." I said, "Have you named him yet?" No, haven't. He's like, "Yeah, I think Larry named him. Give Larry a call." So I called Larry. He owned the majority of them. And he said he named the horse Dornoch. And I was like, wait, like after the golf course? And he's like, yep, it's my favorite golf course, favorite town in the whole world. Named the horse Dornoch. I was like, wait, when did you name the horse Dornoch? He said, last Wednesday. Last Wednesday, me and Chase were playing Royal Dornoch in Dornoch, Scotland. And that's our horse. He wins the Belmont. And he totally changed the course of history for me because now we got Icon Racing. If he doesn't win that race, I don't think we're doing this. I want to share the experience of horse racing with people, bring new owners into the game. We take the barriers of entry and we break them down and we get new people into the sport, bring them in, show them what it's all about. It's like dipping your toe into the sport of kings. But for about $100,000 a share, you can own a basket of horses. I realize that's a lot of money for some people, but it's entertainment. It's taking a Vegas trip. It's taking your kids to Disneyland. If you look at it as entertainment, it's not an investment, and then you'll have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, iconracing.com. You can go and check out a lot more on this, and it's like, you just talked about, it sounds like $100,000, but it feels like something that you would get a group of like lifelong friends and just say, hey, let's have some fun here, right? I mean, that's similar. It sounds like that's kind of how you kind of got into all this stuff.
Essentially, that's it. I mean, whether you put together a group or you do it with your buddies, your family, I tell people this. In sports, in big time sports, you get to experience the moment with your teammates and your coaches, and it's great. You're on the field, you're jumping around. If you win a big game, and you wave up to your family and friends in the stands. In horse racing, you get to experience the wins and the losses with the people you want to do it with, your friends, your family, your dad, your kids, and you get to do it in real time. And that's what makes horse racing so unique. You get to experience these things with the people you want to do it with. And it really is, when you win a big race, it really is. Like when we won the Belmont last year, it felt like, winning the World Series, minus the parade. The parade is what sets it apart. Winning a World Series in Philly, you got a parade attachment. That's one. The Belmont is two. So it was an incredible experience, but still, win a World Series of Philly is number one.
Yeah, I was actually just going to ask, how does it compare to a mission that starts all the way back in Clearwater in February? You go through all the preseason exhibition games, the Grapefruit League, and then a long, long season when you finally accomplish that goal. That compares how to winning something that's like this eventized thing. Now, there's a lot that goes on in horse racing behind the scenes that obviously people aren't aware of, but I would imagine they are very similar type of feels, but you're putting the World Series ahead of the Belmont, it sounds like.
Yeah, just right ahead of it. But it's the same idea, right? You buy these horses when they're won. You go through the minor leagues and spring training with these horses. You bring them all the way up. There's a sense of, if you've ever had, a family pet, a dog or something that, becomes part of the family. These horses become part of the family. It's just like in sports when you got your teammates, the bonds that we created in 2008, 2009 will never be broken. Those guys are like brothers to me. These horses, when they run and they become these superstars, they become like family pets. Obviously, not all of the horses you get into are going to be a Dornoch. He's like once in a lifetime, but even the rest of them, when they're in the stable, you go see them, they become these. You create these bonds with these animals, same as you do teammates. There's a lot of there's a lot of parallels between horse racing and professional sports, especially baseball. If you're a 300 hitter in baseball, you're a Hall of Famer. If you win 30% of your races in horse racing, you're a Hall of Famer. So there is the trials and the tribulations, the ups and the downs of both sports, but it's a lot of fun, and we get to do it with some great people.
Jayson Werth's our guest, iconracing.com. Now, you spent 4 seasons in Philly, 7 in Washington, although I guess winning that World Series, do you feel a closer bond with your 4 years in Philly or the 7 years in Washington?
I'd say it's pretty close, right? We did some great things in Philadelphia. We, turned the whole city around and won a World Series and went back to another one. Unpopular opinion going to Washington. But was able to create something special there. Became a winning franchise, coming off 200 lost seasons, and turned it into a winner. So I can go either way. I retired Washington National. My name's on the stadium, but I won a World Series in Philadelphia and played on some great teams and with some great people in a great city. So. I'm kind of a bandwagon guy as far as that goes. Whoever's ahead each year is who I'm pulling for. But I play with Bryce and Trey in Washington. Great guys. They become a superstar Hall of Fame caliber talents, and I'm pulling for those guys. I'm happy for them. Played against JT. Know a couple of the other guys, but I've got some deep ties with Philadelphia.
Yeah, I was going to say you're the other way. You went from Philly to Washington. You've got Schwarber, Harper, and Turner, Kevin Long. They've all went from Washington to Philly, so there's a lot of ties between the two organizations there. Just real quick before you get out of here, obviously, the journey of spring training, the long regular season, like the ups and downs of a season, and when you finally get to the Red October and it gets kind of jumping, you kind of look back these couple days off and say, man, what a long-ass season this is, and we still have another month to go. The battle of attrition sometimes gets lost in the sauce when you're trying to figure out who the best team is.
For sure, and great teams are made in October. You got to get it to the finish line, and it's the hardest thing to do. Winning's not easy. As you've seen, you've been to the playoffs a bunch. Getting to the World Series doesn't happen very often. We were one of the best teams in baseball when I was in Washington. Never got out of the first round. The Philly run that I was on, the best team they had was probably the year I went to Washington in 2011. That was on paper. That was their best year. They won the most games. They didn't get out of the first round. It's not winning is not easy. Enjoy this run. Enjoy the postseason. Enjoy Red October, because you don't know when you're going to get it again, and this is what it's all about.
Yeah, well, we're looking forward to that, and don't forget, check out iconracing.com for everybody out there who wants to get a little bit more information on what Jayson Werth is talking about and what he is now doing. Everybody saw – you also had a horse at the Derby, right? What was Mohawk, Flying Mohawk, right?
Back-to-back, Flying Mohawk went to the Derby. We probably ran him in the wrong race, but he got us there. Awesome dude. Again, it's just an unbelievable experience to have a horse to run in the Derby. It's the most prestigious event in the world. And when you walk the horse over and they play that song on the way out to the track, it's magical. It's a magical experience. If you haven't been to the Kentucky Derby, check us out. iconracing.com, and we got a podcast too, Off the Rail podcast. Me and Sean Kelly, we kick it around. We do baseball, some sports, mostly horse racing, but it's a lot of fun.
All right, well, Jayson Werth, appreciate it, and I'll let you get back to Home Depot and your shopping, and I know you got to get some stuff done.
Yeah, we'll see if we have enough time. All right, guys, thanks a lot.
All right, Jayson Werth, everybody, 2008 World Series champion, Philadelphia Phillies, iconracing.com. Make sure you guys give that a check out and see what he's up to today. Built for people who want the thrill of owning a racehorse without the usual stress. You can have somebody else do all the work for you, iconracing.com. And he's an icon in this city. He won a World Series.